Hi everyone, this is Christina with In the Garden. We're back in our greenhouse. It's still January, so we are still sowing seeds. It's the end of the day here, and you can kind of catch the sun as it goes down on the other side of the mountains. I went ahead and labeled our tray a little bit ahead of time. I'm going to do 1 row of the anise hyssop and then 3 of the eucalyptus. So I have baby blue, silver plate, and silver drop. And then I have 2 cosmos, the white and the red, like I talked to you about. And then I have a project I'm working on with my friends. We each of us bought a tray for our kitchens, and it's a herb garden for your kitchen, so you can have fresh herbs on and available for you as you're cooking. Some of the things we're going to plant are basil, chives, parsley, and thyme. And then I'm going to also start some coriander, dill, and a parsley that's curled. And then I'm going to look through the rest of our herbs. Some of the other things you can plant this time around or this time of year is some chamomile or anything you need for tea, like mint and things like that. So still winter sowing, still sowing seeds that take a lot of time. When I was looking at the eucalyptus, I did notice the maturity date is 120 to 150 days. These are perennials. It says tender perennials, and in my zone 7, they will last here. I'm gonna go ahead and sow 4 of each because I like them. They can grow up in your landscape and they're amazing for decorations, whether you've seen them in people's showers or in their bouquets and so on. And this is the 2nd year I'm growing it. So I have a couple in my flower beds that have come back. They haven't grown too big yet, and I didn't start them too early in the prior year, so I'm hoping that starting these super early will help. So we'll get started on this, and like I said, I'll show you a picture of the kitchen garden set we bought, and they're really cute if you like them and you like giving gifts to your friends. A kitchen herb garden is super easy to do. The container we bought was just $20 on Amazon, and then I'm growing the seed and the plant for them, and they just put it right in there, and it's a wonderful gift. So let's make our last few labels. We're going to go basil, chives, and parsley. So basil, and I am most definitely putting the right date. I don't know if you guys remember, I accidentally put 11 instead of 1 for January. We're trimming these down. Okay, so we'll do a row of basil here. And then what I'd like to do next is our next tray, probably even next video. I'd like to start my celosia and my sweet pea mammoth blend, which is a blend that you're not supposed to eat. This is, I believe, the one that is poisonous. Don't quote me on that. Oh yeah, toxic. Deer resistant. Most parts of this plant is toxic. So this sweet pea is beautiful, but you have to plant it ornamentally and just don't plant it near your peas like in our last video. We're not going to plant those together so we don't confuse the peas we eat versus the peas we don't. So I've got basil. Let's do chives. And the maturity date on most of these is 14 days for germination. And I would say to get a decent size, it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks, a decent sized plant that we could put in their little planters we bought. So there's chives and now parsley. And then Kendall wanted thyme, so we'll start a new tray for thyme. And I have 2 types of parsley, so I'm going to go ahead and plant both types and see which ones they like. Okay, we'll set these over here. This is your little dibber. Remember, this is for small holes, this is for bigger holes. And we're gonna go with the anise hyssop first. This plant is the one that is, let's see, is this one annual? No, perennial. It has a minty smell, and the native bees love them, refreshing on tea and ice. So this is an herb that you can use for tea. So let's go ahead and put more of that in there. And then remember, these seeds were really tiny. All right, now these were the Jiffy pods that I got as a gift. So remember that these I kept watered. They're still moist. I have not watered these. I took the humidity tray off and they were just super moist. So I don't need to water the seed in. I'm just going to simply put the humidity tray back on and call it good. Okay. And then remember, I am setting everything I've planted in this box over here that I've sown it so that if it does not germinate, I can go back and add seeds. All right, let's go with, this is the baby, this is silver plate, and this one is the silver drop. And I do not have a ton of these left. Cover those up. Cover that up. Okay. I do think that these Jiffy pods are great if you're wanting to make gifts for friends too. So if you have somebody who's new to gardening and you want to give them something, I actually think these work really well. Okay, this is eucalyptus silver drop. I'm putting 2 seeds per pod. I also have a friend, Chrissy, that I think I'll give some to as well because she really likes things like that. Okay, silver plate. So the names of these are a very good description when it comes to the eucalyptus as the size of the plant leaf. So the silver plate is the biggest, the silver drop is right in between, and then the baby blue is the smallest. All are pretty cool, and I've planted all of them in my flower beds that I have here. Okay. Now, if you label these ahead of time, it makes things move along a little faster. And it might seem boring that this is all we're doing for gardening right now, as most of the gardeners you'll watch are just prepping and planting seeds, but you would be surprised if you do not do this in advance how much the plants need time to mature. Like this eucalyptus, I think I started it after my last frost last year, and those plants didn't grow very much during the growing season. And the growing season that we're referring to is the time between spring and fall. And that's the time that the sun is out. Well, the sun is out the longest, and you want to give it as much time in the sun as possible, especially for certain plants who are sun loving. Okay, moving on to the cosmos. The cosmos, I did not dislike, let me put it that way. I loved them. I loved a certain one that was apricota, which I saved seed from, and I'll plant those out. That was my favorite. The thing I would say about the cosmos that you just want to be aware of is that if you're a tidy gardener and you like really tidy flower beds, these kind of grow like crazy and all over the place, and they self-seed. So you might have wanted like a tinier, not a tiny plant, but a plant that you thought might be kept in check. And this is not that plant. It is all over the place. It will grow everywhere. They're just little pieces of the flower seed. Okay. So they're not like round, tiny. A lot of flowers aren't round and tiny like herbs. They're not circular. All right, this one's the afternoon white. See what that looks like? I'm a gardener that has really bad allergies. I think I mentioned that on this channel before. And being able to smell flowers is such a gift, because when you have allergies during allergy season, you lose a lot of your sense of smell. And so it can be very frustrating to be a gardener with allergies. However, I did just have, after probably a decade of really severe allergies, that sinus surgery a lot of people have had, and septum surgery, because it had gotten so bad that there we go, basil. I couldn't breathe anymore, really. If you've had that surgery, I'd like to know what you thought about it. Cover that one up. Now we can spray these in like we did yesterday, but we do not need to add the, so this is basil. This is what I'm talking about with small circular seeds. You don't need to add the vermiculite on these necessarily. You can if you want, but because we're burying them down in the soil already, they're going to have moisture because the soil has moisture right now. They're moist, like I said at the beginning. All right, there's all of our basil. I think that personally, I'm actually gonna put these back in the herbs basket. And these ones, you remember I told you about my little trays. These ones I have labeled herbs, so I could just put them right back in there. I know that I'm putting things I've sown up there, but I want to keep these separate. Flowers, seeds, gardening things they're really great gifts. So if you're ever wondering what someone might want, even if they don't have a green thumb, I think a lot of people would love to have a plant, even like maybe a house plant. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I would just like to have it. Okay, so recap on this. Anise hyssop, eucalyptus, cosmos, basil, chives, and parsley. Now I'll grab the other tray. We're not going to go too far on the other tray, but I do want to get the thyme started for Kendall's. She was the only one that picked the thyme, but I love thyme to cook with. In fact, I have thyme in my garden full time. And so thyme is a perennial, it'll grow back every year. Basil is not. Chives will. Parsley is not. So this is parsley. Okay, grab that out of. Okay, put that back over here. And last, chives. Okay, chives are these little black ones, and I have saved chive seeds before. There's a really amazing chive called garlic chives, and just like the name says, they taste like chives and garlic together, which if you're wondering what does that taste like, it tastes like onions and garlic together. So if you like both onions and garlic, you might like garlic chives. Here's our humidity dome, and it has water. Watch it, there we go. And then I did cut the labels down a little so they'd fit under the humidity dome. You just snip the bottom. Okay, so let's move one of these out. And this one in. So we have so far our onion tray, the tray we just sowed, the one we did with flowers that I showed you that had the bachelor's button on it, and then the one we sewed together in our prior video, which is all flowers. It's going to be the delphiniums, the snapdragons, and so on. And then just to give you an idea of how the other onions are doing in these trays, they're doing really well. So those turned out good too. So I'm going to take the humidity dome off of that. So I have other ones like this. And then I need to see where I can fit. So we have not sewn these yet, so I'm going to move these. It's going to get really crowded in here really fast. Let's put that like that. These I need to sew next, and these little guys can go somewhere on a tray that they can share. Let's go down here. They need something to catch the water. That's what I'm saying. Okay, now we have this room for when we're done with this tray. Set that there. Put this on top. Grab our humidity dome. I only watered these one time, and that humidity has been really staying in there. Okay, so to continue on, we needed thyme. And let's go ahead, and I've already got a couple of these made. So let's go and do dill. Let's see, what was the other one? Parsley. Okay, and then I need to make a label for thyme. So I hope you're catching some of the things we're doing here. We're doing flowers and herbs, nothing like tomatoes and peppers yet. Those are going to be closer to your last frost date. So this is thyme. These actually might fit without cutting them, so let's try it out. Here's the thyme. We're going to go ahead and put the thyme. Oh, these seeds are so tiny. These are like flakes, teeny tiny flakes. Can you see those? I hate to tip them too much because I feel like they're gonna fall. Okay, now because these are so tiny, I'm not gonna try to get them back in the container if I have too many. I'm just gonna oversow. These seeds are a couple years old. I got them with an herb set. So oversowing when your seeds are old is a good idea. Okay. There is the thyme. Okay, let's go ahead and do the dill since I had it. So this is, oh, and let me grab one for cilantro. Okay, dill and parsley. So dill is interesting. It's definitely a much bigger seed, but it's also a variegated seed. So it's like dark and then light. I think they'll like dill. It's just that the container only had 3. And that is from Botanical Interest, the seed company I talk about all the time. There you go. Here's the dill. And I love letting dill go to a flower head because the flower head looks like this and it looks good in bouquets. So if your dill ends up bolting, don't worry. And then you just save the little heads and those little seeds fall right off. Like they're the easiest seed to save if you're looking to start saving seed. All right, curled moss parsley, see that? And then this will be the last one, our cilantro, which is coriander. So cilantro, when you let it bolt, it goes to coriander seed. Coriander seed is what you cook with most oftenly, but it starts out as being parsley before it becomes the seed that you might, or a spice that you might cook with. Okay, that's the parsley. Now this is a different one than we just started over there. This one's a curled parsley. So the curled parsley is typically used for garnishes and things that you might see in a restaurant, but it's also a strong parsley. So if you really want to put it in like stocks, like chicken noodle soup or any kind of soup, it'll hold up. It's, in my opinion, it's kind of like a kale. It's a stronger leaf. And so it just stands up better than a parsley that is a more fragile leaf. Okay, cilantro. And then we'll have half the tray left to use for things that we can plant on another day. Let's put that back. And then we had this stuff. Okay, so coriander, dill, sage, arugula, mint. I love arugula. Save those for another day. Okay, so I created my 2 organizers to categorize things into, what is it? It's herbs and flowers and everything veggie. So the herbs, I don't put them under a certain month because I feel like herbs you can sow any time of year, and you might have to re-sow them a couple times a year if you run out of something. And like I said, some of these come back and some of them don't. And the good thing about herbs is even if they can't live outside, they can live on your windowsill like we're gonna do. Okay, everyone, that's all we have for seeds today. Oop. So in the last seed tray, it was anise, hyssop, eucalyptus, cosmos, and then parsley, dill, basil, dill, and parsley. And in this one, it's thyme, dill, parsley, cilantro. And the other one, it was, let's see if I remember, it was basil, chives, and parsley. Got it. So we're gonna put these away, and then hopefully we'll see you in the next video. The next video, like I said, I would like to plant some of these mammoth peas, and we're gonna sow the dahlias, and we're gonna sow this scabosia. And I love the scabosia. I hope my gomphrena is coming in soon, because I bought multiple types of gomphrena, and I absolutely, absolutely love gomphrena. This is Christina. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.